Welcome to episode 131 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Walker County. We'll get to them in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
What's happening, man? We are here on a Wednesday night, midway through the week, and we talked about it briefly, but I'm going to bring it up now. Is our beverage of choice at the moment? Not a sponsor. I yeah.
Not an ad, but if they want to, right, I would gladly accept it.
We were having a party over here at the house for Wyatt, and I just stopped at the liquor store and saw the coolest thing. And it was just called Garage Beer, and I was like, I'm in it. Already off of the name, I'm in it. So I pick it up, cool it down or whatever. We go to have a drink out of it, and it's just like a no nonsense light beer. And I'm like, this is great. And I love the fact that it's just garage beer, you know? I don't know about most folks, but I have a garage with a beer fridge where I keep my garage beers. And so it just works out. And so recently I had just picked up this garage beer with lime, and some drink of the summer. It's amazing. It's the most refreshing thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no secret to the podcast of the last 5 years that I don't drink anymore. I haven't drank since 2018, and it's Wednesday night, and I'm on my fourth garage beer live. So these are absolutely delicious. And I had the one at Wyatt's, the original, and then you told me about these limes, and I just love that their tagline is "The garage is always open."
Right.
That's pretty this is just a great beer. There's nothing. There's no.
And we're not getting paid for this.
Buts about it.
We're not getting paid for this. It's just it's in our hands. And, we got ready to do this recording, and I passed by my garage door, and I'm like, hey, I'm getting ready to get set up. You text me back. You're like, yeah, I'm going to grab a garage beer. And I'm like, you know what? I am too. And here we are.
Yeah. This was definitely the find of the summer. And, not an ad, but everybody needs to go invest in some garage beer because it is damn delicious.
Yes. Man. Other than that, not paid for ad, the summer is coming to an end. I mean, we are slowly dwindling down, like I said before, and we're getting to the end of these pre-recorded interviews, and this was another one that you hammered out on your own.
Yeah, this was fun. Talking with Ivy and Sophie of Walker County, a nice sister duo out of Indiana, Walker County, of course. And it was fun. There was a lot of laughs, a lot of we talk about going back to the garage beer, no bullshit beer, but we bullshitted a lot. So it was a fun time talking with them.
Nice, yeah, man. We might as well just put it on for the folks.
All right, everyone, we're here today with singer-songwriters Ivy and Sophie, otherwise known as Walker County. Welcome to Outside the Circle, girls. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited. We haven't had a group or a duo or more than one in a while, so this will be fun to kind of chat and just kind of around and we always like to start with the very cliche, the tell us a little bit about where you girls grew up and how important music was in your household, all that good stuff.
Totally. Yes. So Sophie and I, we started playing music when we were 9 and 12. We actually started playing with our dad. Our dad loved music, and he played in our church and played in a bluegrass band. And then when Dad saw Sophie and I show interest in it, he quickly was like, okay, maybe we can do something here together. So we actually went on a family vacation. We're from Indiana. Went up on a family vacation in Nashville in 2007. And we street performed on Broadway, right on 4th and Broad. I think Honky Tonk Central is there now, but it looked a lot different in 2007. It was I think an abandoned building. But we opened up the guitar case and we sang for about 10 minutes, and then
made a few bucks.
Yeah.
Dad said, you girls can split the money. And he said, if we learn an hour's worth of songs,
Yep.
you know, he did the math. He was like, we can make a lot more and I'll let you split that too. So we went back home and learned some more and came back quite a few times after that,
Yeah.
made $200, $300 just street performing. And we thought we were rich.
Yeah, but that's really what kicked things
Yeah.
off. We started playing a lot back home in Indiana and have been busy playing music ever since then. It never stopped.
Yeah. So your dad being a musician as well, you're playing with him. You mentioned that he played in the church and bluegrass bands and stuff like that. Was that what was on the radios growing up? Like,
For sure.
you know, like the style of genre that, you know, your parents were into and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
they Dad listened to a lot of different types of music. We, you know, anything that he liked, we heard, whether it was like Rolling Stones, Dwight Yoakam, singer-songwriters like John Prine, Emmylou Harris. We definitely heard an eclectic group of music growing up. But I will say he loved bluegrass and country. So that was definitely like a focal point for us growing up. And we started out playing a lot of bluegrass and gospel music because we got hired by a bunch of churches right off the bat. So we definitely had to learn a lot of, you know, old bluegrass gospel music, but and then it quickly turned into some, like, we would start playing like weddings and festivals where, you know, we were like, they probably don't want to dance to bluegrass music. They probably want to listen to some country. So that's where that kind of started. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So Indiana and now are you in Nashville now?
Yeah. So we've been here for 10 years in November. So we've been here quite a while. We moved here in 2014
Which is
with
crazy.
a record deal and everything. So it just seems like it's been so fast, but also so long. It's so weird to describe it. It's definitely home now. We love Nashville.
Good. Yeah. And you're definitely right with the, you know, 2007 Nashville looks very different than 2014
Totally.
Nashville, which looks very different than 2024 Nashville. So
Totally. The evolution of Nashville is crazy, but hey, we learned to live with it for sure.
yeah. Although I did hear today, or was the last couple days, was that the Florida Georgia line bar is closing?
I saw that.
Oh, really?
I saw Lainey Wilson's going to put something in there. So
there's a lot of speculation if the artist run bars are going to run their course. And
hey, you never know. Yeah.
But everybody, Garth, what if Garth just put one in? Eric Church just put one in. So
Yes.
then again, Florida Georgia line also had their personal issues behind the scenes with each other. So I'm sure that played a part. But yeah, no, it's Nashville's definitely grown a lot, and it's a cool little city. It's as big as it is. It's still such a small city.
Yeah, and it was crazy for us because we came from a town in Indiana of 390 people, and it was a farming community. Like we grew up on the Walker family farm. That's where the name Walker County comes from. So coming from that to Nashville was like such a culture shock for us.
And, you know, we were like still teenagers. I got my driver's license in town in Nashville, and it was so crazy because like we never drove on highways back home.
No.
Like, you know, it was always back roads kind of stuff. So moving here, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm definitely a Nashville driver though now. It's rubbed off on me.
For sure.
Yeah. We're based out of the Northeast, out of like the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. So we, drivers outside of our area. I don't, it's not for me, but, yeah. So you're there now. You've been there now. Did you say you had 300 people in your town?
Yeah, 390 people was the population of Sulphur Springs, Indiana.
My high school graduating class was 1,200 kids. That's just my class. Like that. Forget the rest of the town. Like, wow.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
I
We
know.
did everybody's business
We
too.
did. And so our mom, she was the hairdresser and she did everybody's hair in town. So we literally knew and were related to about everybody in Sulphur Springs. So when we go back home home quite a bit though, and get to see everybody. We definitely love where we grew up. They were a huge part of our journey and story.
Yeah. And I would imagine now might be a little different in terms of like the times, but you used to hear like the stories of the people who got out of their hometowns and went and made something of themselves. And is there kind of that like mentality like going back home, or like is it a little different now with like social media and kind of the world being more accessible that just yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. I do feel like in a way, like back home, we were definitely like kind of in our own bubble, which is a beautiful way to grow up. I think I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was so awesome. And we definitely had our supporters, there were people that 100% believed in us, but at the same time, with anything, there are some people that are like, "You're leaving, or you can't do
You're
that."
Really going to Nashville, yeah.
So there's definitely that kind of thing of like people like, okay, this is strange, but for the most part, we had a wonderful experience with like teachers and people in our school that just supported us, would let us leave to go play shows and like things like that, and that honestly trumps all the doubt that others had. It's like, man, those people that really supported us, just wow, like I want to be that person for somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And it's fun because we now have like our younger cousins who are interested in songwriting, and we're hoping to give them an insight and say, you can do that. You can be from 390 people, small town Indiana, and you can go and write music and make a living off of it. It's doable.
It's a career path. And it's real. Like you can really do it.
I think we didn't have those influences when we were younger of anybody who just went and did it. So it's really fun to be able to share our stories with the younger kids in our hometown and be like, hey, music is an option. So that's been really neat. And we had so much family back home that our little area of Sulphur, it is like this haven of peace. Like every time we drive back home, we just, it's like, this is nice. We can just take a load off for a few days and see family. And so, yeah, we love our little hometown.
Well, and I'm glad to hear that the music is a career was an option and not a dream, or too often, especially doing this and talking to people literally around the world, we hear too often, yeah, you can go do that, but like make sure you have another plan, or like so it's cool to like that you had that support system and that belief in you guys. And you mentioned the younger folks coming up now, and giving that opportunity to them as well. When did you know that, like, you've been in Nashville 10 years now. When did you know that music was going to be like the thing? Like when did that bug hit for you?
It was kind of crazy because it was starting so young, and having like how we were just talking, super supportive parents that were saying like, yeah, we can do this. We can travel here. We can play this show, and never hearing like, no. It was like, wow, like maybe we could move to Nashville. Maybe we could do this. And then I think in 2013, we had made an EP in Indianapolis and really kind of put some good, money into it, had some great players on the record. And the guy who mixed it was from Nashville and asked if he could give it to people around town. And we were like, sure, not thinking about it being given to anybody on Music Row. We kind of didn't know how the whole music industry worked at that time. And we got a call like a week later and was like, hey, you're going to get a call from the president of A&R at Warner Music. And we were like, okay, who are they? Like, we had no idea who anybody was. But we ended up going playing for them, and they offered us a full artist deal and full publishing deal within that period of meeting, like 2 hours. And that was like a crazy thing where we kind of went into that going, if this doesn't work out, no one's going to believe this story even happened. And if it does, this is insane. And it ended up working out. But that's what really pushed us moving to Nashville, was that record deal.
That was kind of a reality thing, like, this could be something bigger than what we were thinking it was going to be. But I will say, when I was 10 years old, I was saying, I'm going to play country music. I'm going to be a country. I'm going to be famous. I was saying that all the time. And
we're definitely in the rock star mindset from a young age.
I knew, I was like, we're doing this.
She was done with school. She didn't want to do it.
I didn't like any of it. I was like, bye. I played the drums. I don't know. So, I definitely, for me, I was young when I was music, but, I guess that's childhood kind of dreaming anyway, but when it becomes a reality, it's oh wait, this is real. That's a crazy feeling.
I think too, the first time moving to Nashville is definitely we have to make this work. But also I think opening up for Loretta Lynn, that was one of our first big opening gigs that we had. We had been living in Nashville for a year, and we got the call that we were going to open up for Loretta Lynn for I think 8 shows. I think it was 8 or 10 shows. And that going, oh my gosh, Loretta Lynn, growing up listening to Loretta, she was a country female icon to Sophie and I mean, to many people, but just feeling that opening spot was so special and going, wow, this is turned into something that we definitely hadn't prepared. We had prepared for, but weren't didn't know if it would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that was probably the pinch me, oh, this is happening moment. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That one and Willie Nelson. Those two are what the
I had lots of pinch me moments.
Yeah.
And hopefully you still are having those moments.
Yes.
That's what makes it all worth it, right? All right. So then you mentioned the 2013 EP, which ultimately led to coming to Nashville and Warner Music, you said, right? Being a Warner Music. I guess kind of focusing on the songwriter side of it. A lot of times we talk to solo artists and they talk about, their process and what that looks like. And then, transitioning into the co-write kind of mindset. For the two of you being, together in a duo, what does that process look like for you? Are you both contributing? Are you co-writing with others on top of that? What's that process for you guys?
Yeah. We always write together. That's just something we've done since we moved here. We are kind of each other's comfort blankets, we have to be there. And we communicate. We both have a very similar vision for the music. So when we're both in the room, we both know what we want and we're able to, kind of communicate that with each other. We do co-write with a lot of people. The whole Painted Ponies album was co-written with one person, Paul Sykes. And then one of the songs was with Robin Collins as well. But yeah, it kind of is just different every time we go into the room. Sometimes there's a melody that's in our heads. Sometimes it's a title of a song. Sometimes it's just a line in the song. And we just start kind of spitballing with each other. And it's usually when we write with Paul, who produced this record and wrote it, it's so fast and easy. We all just have this thing and it's so...
The songs kind of spit out.
Easy, but it's so good. You know?
And it is funny because Sophie and I, we had only written together and with our dad. And so when we moved to Nashville, this songwriting community is so talented. And so we were definitely intimidated, but we kind of went through a songwriting boot camp. I think the first year we were here in Nashville, we wrote 150 songs in a year. It was crazy amount of songs. And we were with somebody new every single day, which at the time we were freaking out and super okay, we're done writing. But it was also such a blessing in disguise because we were thrown into the deep end and go swim, see how you do. So, but through the years, Sophie and I have gotten it down and we have our core groups that we absolutely love to write. But we also still write with new people. Tomorrow we're writing with a new writer that we've not written with before. And so that's always exciting. And but this record we wrote with Paul Sykes and he's been a dream music partner to work with throughout the years.
Yeah. And you said he helped write and was part of the record, the whole record. So I'm sure that helped too, having I can never say this word. Familiarity across the collection of songs. So
Exactly.
getting that coherence and I mean, you mentioned that boot camp. There's no other way to learn than get thrown in and sink or swim, right? That's yeah. I am curious as you were kind of giving me those backgrounds there. When you go into a writing room with somebody, whether you've known them for a while or somebody new like tomorrow, you have that. The wording is going to sound terrible, but you have that like professionalism. I'm sure between the two of you, there's been some moments where you don't necessarily get along in the process, having that rivalry.
We're sisters, and we tell people that all the time. We're total sisters all around.
I don't know, unless we're like so comfortable around you, like maybe in front of Paul, we probably fought, but it's nothing like crazy. But it's more of like a bicker. But if we're like with someone new and I don't like something she said or whatever, we just do the eye.
There's like an eye look that will.
And then sometimes like maybe a text message will get sent.
She's like, stop giving me that look. You're someone
Why are you turning down all my lines?
You're saying no to everything. But
help me out here.
And then when we get in the car, we're like, shut up, But no, a lot of the time I will say songwriting wise and music wise, we are on the same wavelength. A lot of like the bickering and stuff comes with like, I wanted to wear those shoes or I wanted to do this. That's where the sister bickering comes in. But songwriting and music, luckily, we don't fight too often about.
No, we don't. We agree on a lot of music stuff, which is great.
Everything else we don't agree on. Choosing a picture for a cover, it's so hard as sisters because I like this one. I don't like that one. And so
there's usually like one good one,
But it's good that you have. Well, I think it's good that you have both of that, right? That you are so in tune with what your visions are the same, right? You both have the same goals, the same visions, the same wants for what this is. But it is good. It wouldn't be healthy if it was all good, right? Like it's good that every so often you need to have that moment of like, all right, come on. All right. So we're talking about music. Well, obviously we're talking about music. That's what we do here, but we're talking about the music. We, you mentioned the album and that recently released not that long ago. Let's dive into that. But I think it might be a good idea to take our break, put on the song we're going to play for you. That way, going into it, we have some stuff to talk about. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the song for us, and then we will talk about it when we come back from the break.
Perfect. Well, I'm Ivy Dene.
And I'm Sophie Dawn.
And we're Walker County, and you're listening to Double Wide World.
Mr. Well, Reggie got evicted, but he's squatting in the neighbor's shed. Yeah, the preacher may be married, but he's in the secretary's bed. I ain't one to spread a rumor, just repeating what the postman said. Cocaine through a skull, daddy's on parole. Kitchen cooking up a little more than casserole. Double wide diaries, double wide dreams, double wide denim, if you know what I mean. We all put the crazy on the edge of town, but a little bit of crazy makes the double wide world go round. Here come the blue lights, breaking up a dogfight. My town, Montgomery Gentry, just another entry in the double wide diaries, double wide dreams, double wide denim, if you know what I mean. We all put the crazy on the edge of town, but a little bit of crazy makes them double wide diaries, double wide dreams, double wide denim, if you know what I mean. We all put the crazy on the edge of town, but a little bit of crazy makes the double wide world go round.
All right, so let's talk about Double Wide World. First and foremost, what was the inspiration behind that song and ultimately getting it out in the world and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so like we were saying in the kind of earlier, coming from such a small town, we had so many stories from our mom's beauty shop, from the way we grew up. We grew up in a double wide, and so definitely it came from hometown inspiration. And it's fun because this song is kind of silly and it's really fun. And I think the whole album, there's a lot of serious moments in the album, and so it's fun to have a song that kind of breaks it up a little bit and gives you a laugh. And some of those stories really were true. And so it's like, when you hear it, you can guess which ones were true or not.
Yeah. I definitely, for you could see my notes, I literally wrote fun in really big letters.
Perfect.
It was very fun.
Yeah. So no, this song it's a lot of fun. It's upbeat. It's energy. It's the song you want to hear at the end of the night to keep the night going. Like it's a great song. So Brian, my co-host, he always talks about like the production side. He's an audio engineer by trade.
Yeah.
So he'll talk shop for hours. I always like to talk about like the emotional side, the lyrics, that end of it. So I was going to ask if there's some authenticity, some truth to some of these stories in there. But I'm sure the small town, hometown influence definitely helps in the writing process.
Oh yeah. And our mom, her beauty shop was right behind our double wide in a pole barn. So we would just run out there and sit under the hair dryer while she was doing somebody's hair and listen. And we were always the first to know who was divorced, who was pregnant, who was getting remarried. Like we knew it all because they just vent to mom. And so we knew everything first for sure. And so this song was super fun to write. And
crazy stuff happens in small towns. It really does. It's so weird. Our hometown has some crazy stories. Like some are dark, but it's really there's so there's not many people. Stuff like this is happening. It's just odd. So it's kind of fun to just write and make fun of.
It makes good music, and
does.
You know, I mean, I joked before that my graduating class was so much bigger than your whole town, but I think to kind of go with your point there, Sophie, that I think it happens everywhere. It's just more noticeable when there's less fluff around it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
When you know everybody
Yeah.
and everything that's happened all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love this song. It's so
Thank
fun.
you.
It's so good. It is off of I believe your first full length album, Painted Ponies.
Yes.
What we're a couple weeks removed from the release. What else can you tell us about that album, for those, wanting to go down that rabbit hole and get lost in it?
Yeah, so this story has been a passion project that really started when we first moved to Nashville. So the first time we ever wrote with Paul Sykes, who produced and co-wrote this whole album, was early 2015. So we had just moved to Nashville, had been writing a little bit, but he was one of our first writes that we clicked with somebody, and there was just this like musical connection that it was fun. We just jived in the writing room, and we kept on going back and writing with Paul, and every song we wrote, we just were like, man, this is so good. This is so good. And so we were with Warner for a span of 9 years. And out of those 9 years, I want to say we wrote like 50 songs with Paul. Mm-hmm. And there were so many that we went into the label asking to put out and being like, we absolutely love these songs. Please let us put these out. And we kind of got a no, you should try doing something like this. This is working right now. Try to do something like this. And we were just getting to the point of frustration where we weren't able to put out anything that we were super passionate about. And finally, last March, we were at Chewy's for your birthday, and we were with Paul because he's a good friend. And he was like, listen, he's like, let me produce this record. We will put every song we've ever wanted to put out into the world on it. And we do not need the label to do this. And so Sophie and I made the decision to leave our label, which was scary because we had been there for so long, but it was just, we were just ready for the new season in our lives, and being able to be in control of this record was so important. And so we did, and that's what we've been doing. And some of those songs are from 2015 that are on that record. Like, they range in how old they are, but we're so proud of it. We're so proud of it.
Yeah. So I kind of want to backtrack to talking about Warner a little bit. So for those that don't know, what does that type of relationship look like, being involved with a label like that? Yeah.
So there's a lot of complexities to it, but mainly, you work with that label, and I hate to say they're a bank, but they basically pay for a record to be made, or a song to be put out, or a music video to be made. But
in that deal situation, you want them to be creative with you and support you. And we had that for a few years, and I think it just like slowly we were put on the shelf. There were other artists being signed, and they were already doing stuff, and they weren't baby acts like us.
Yeah.
And so slowly, over time, it kind of seemed like we just were a little forgotten about, and just, let the Walker Girls do what they want, whatever. And then, we'd bring in our passion projects, our passion songs, and
we just want to get the excitement from it for it. It was just like, okay, that's great, but we'll see about putting it out, or it'd be 2 years till we would put out something new. That, it's just the relationship with the labels. It's difficult because I know that some people, it's a great opportunity because they are, but you just want it to be a good relationship. If it's not a healthy relationship, then a label, it's tough to be on one. Yeah. But we're definitely we're loving being independent. This whole past year has been absolutely amazing. We're getting more opportunities than we ever did on the label, and just being able to do what we want and sing what we want has been so nice. Not having to be like, yes, no, just being like, we like it, we're putting it out. Yeah. So that's been awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure having that control, I guess, over what you're doing. And it didn't work out with Warner, but that's not to say that record labels aren't a good idea for somebody else, or maybe there's another label that comes down the road for you.
Exactly.
We are in a weird time in the world where we can do what we want to do without a label. It's not as dominant as it used to be. So I'm glad that you were able to get this project together because it's what you wanted to do. And you know, it only takes all it takes is the right people. And as good as your time with Warner was, unfortunately, they weren't the right people anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It's commendable to take control of what you want. And yeah, I really like that.
Thank you. It's felt great. I'm telling you, it's been a weight off of our shoulders, and
it's an outgrowing kind of thing.
It is.
And yes, we are very thankful for what they've done for us. And, you know,
I think about how young we were when we signed, you know, being so young and starting out at 16 and 19, being signed there. We're completely different women. And it's just,
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, it's the longevity of it, right? You grow as people, and so do they. They grow as a company. So so it's very apparent that you know, you guys bring a lot of energy, right? So what does a Walker County live show look like? What could people expect when they come see you perform?
Definitely lots of fun. We have always been kind of an up-tempo live show type people. I play drums. Ivy sings lead, plays acoustic. Our dad is on electric, and our good friend Jesse Hardy is on bass. And we just try and bring a lot of energy. And even with these songs that are a little slower, I feel like the live stage presence, it makes up for it. It's so fun. And I think just the live harmonies and everything, it's just a blast. We have so much fun. And And
it's fun to watch her on the drums. Everybody loves that. We kind of put her up front. We do a kind of white stripe style where the drummer's out front, and people are always surprised when the blonde walks out and sits behind the drum kit. So that's fun.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're shattering stereotypes, right? That's
there we go.
we're in a world where those shouldn't exist anymore, and you're doing that. So so kind of along the same lines of live shows and all of that. It's crazy to think that CMA Fest is already right around the corner. I feel like it just happened. I saw that you're participating in some fanfare events. What do you have planned for that week around town?
Yeah, so we have a meet and greet on Saturday, and then we also have at 2:55 we are playing the Hard Rock stage, and so that's a free stage, so anybody can come whether they bought a ticket or not. So it's going to be really fun. We haven't played. It's been a few years since we played CMA Fest. I think it's like 2019 was the last time we played, and then the years after that, after COVID, of course, we were on tour. So it's exciting to finally be back in town for that weekend and to play and see everybody, because it's a crazy weekend. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I went down for it a long time ago. Might have been like 2012, 2013, like in that range. And it was nuts then. So I could only imagine it just keeps getting bigger and yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. So Painted Ponies just recently released. Anything else you have coming down the line that you want to touch on that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, so we have a lot of fairs and festivals this summer booked, so you could catch us. If you go to walkercountymusic.com, we have all of our shows on there, and we're hopefully working on a deluxe album that should be in the hopefully near future. We're
working on some stuff.
There's some songs that we really had a hard time not putting on the record, and so I have a feeling that they're going to make it on this next round of releases. So we're excited for that.
Nice. So you just mentioned the website. So I guess website plus like socials, like where can our listeners go to find you online?
Yeah, we're just Walker County on everything. We lucked out with that name because nobody had it. So you can find us Walker County on
TikTok, Instagram.
X, all of it.
X. I always forget. I forget X now. I still call it Twitter. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah, they call it X, but we still call it tweeting.
I know.
Yeah.
Weird.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ivy, Sophie, thank you so much for joining me. I'm very excited to see how Painted Ponies continues to grow for you, and especially what comes next. And I think, you know, you've been there 10 years, but now we're about to really learn who you guys are, and it's gonna be a fun ride for you.
Oh,
thank you so much. It's been a good time talking to you.
All right, man. Yeah, that was our interview with Walker County, and another really good one. You know, I love the dynamics of the two sisters playing together, and you know, before we were kind of questioning, like, what does that look like? You know, the two of them, especially the roles that they play in the band, and we did a quick little YouTube search and found them a live show, and seeing, you know, it's kind of a cool looking dynamic on stage where you have one singer with a guitar, the other one front stage on a drum kit. It's just a cool image.
Yeah, it was cool talking to them about that dynamic, and you know, kind of even going back to their beginning, their start in music and the whole like family band concept with their dad. And Sophie on the drums, always killing it. Those live videos were so much fun to watch, and I can only imagine the videos being so fun that their live show, which we talked a little bit about in the interview too, but their live show has got to be quite dynamic and quite exciting to be a part of.
Yeah, man, another really great interview, and definitely look forward to see, you know, what more comes out of Walker County. Definitely want to thank them for coming on Outside the Circle. Be sure to follow them on all of their social media music listening platforms. We leave you today with another track from Walker County, The Thing About Fences.
Wraparound porch, a dog in the yard, a couple of acres that we could call ours, straight from the cover of Home magazine. Well, doesn't that sound like any girl's dream? You promised me a white picket fence